Hey everybody, it's me, Danny. It's YouTube. Wrong website if you're looking for something that's not incredibly entertaining and all about awesomeness. That's chess. This is another bullet brawl against a much lower rated player, designed for instruction, assuming I can get a move from my opponent. And again, a little bit of a different tone. We're playing bullet chess. We're having a blast, but we're going to talk a little bit about it afterwards too. Right? So it's more of an educational experience. Looks like everything I'm saying is going to be for naught because my opponent simply left. That's an abandoned game, right? I'm got to go Sam Smith on this and get somebody to play with me. 'Cause you're all I need. Oh, look at that. Same guy we played last time, actually. That's right. I'm up 1-0 in this series against this guy, so let's see if we can get something else kind of instructive. We'll play the Verisov. We'll explain why it works to play this positional mistake and block the c-pawn. What the philosophy is behind the Verisov that justifies this kind of approach. We'll talk about all that and more. Just stay tuned to this week's Bullet Brawl. Okay, he wanted Queen H4 check, but he knew it didn't work. So he was like, oh darn, right, it's not quite what I wanted. And take it, get the queen. Right, I'd like to just play g4. And really, really be aggressive, but no. Alright, he still can't castle long. As long as there's a piece on that diagonal. So I'm going to play this move, g4, knowing it gives up the bishop, but I'm banking on the fact that he can't castle. And taking on g4 allows bishop takes g6, so I think I'm definitely winning my piece back, yeah. That's why he plays c5. So knight takes threatens mate on e7, which my opponent just simply did not see. So what happened here? To give some instruction, what happened here? Okay, well, the Verisov breaks the principle of blocking the c-pawn in a queen's pawn game. The principle, in case you're wondering, for you YouTube fans who may not be aware of the positional knowledge that we give to all of our Chess.com members, right? Hey, wink, wink, go get a membership. Whenever a queen pawn is the lead pawn in the center, so not even necessarily just one d4 openings, but most of the time one d4 openings. But anytime the queen pawn is the lead pawn in the center, the queen pawn has protection from the queen. And so, not like the king moves like a rook, bringing the knight out like you would bring a knight out in a king pawn game doesn't serve to put immediate pressure on the center, and often decreases your flexibility. You really want this knight behind this pawn, where they both have double the attack on these squares. Often with the queen pawn leading the way, you're also trying to gain space on the queen side of the board, which is another good reason to play c4. So why the Verisov? Why is this opening gaining popularity? What are we learning about it? In fact, we mentioned in the Master's Bulletin, which you can see a graphic for that here. The main idea is to develop quickly on the queen side and actually castle long to either get a mating attack on the king side or to actually change the position. And instead of leaving the queen pawn as the lead pawn in the center, I'm going to play for e4 and either get two pawns in the center or maybe the king pawn will then become the lead pawn in the center as it sort of did in the structure in this game. So the Verisov does indeed break those positional principles if we're evaluating it from a traditional Queen's Gambit perspective. But if you realize the goal is actually a rapid development for either a mating attack or to change the center, change the structure, then you start to see why the Verisov gains popularity, and it's also sort of not as well known. Both bishop f4 and bishop g5 are ways to play the Verisov, and here with early f3, you're doing a couple things. One, you're maybe preparing to play g4 and h4 and h5 like a Yugoslav attack, and the other thing you're doing is you're supporting e4. If my opponent had played g6, I would have played queen to d2 and castled long and done something a little more like that with the attack, but he played e6, and so I decided to change the center and gain some space. He took it and I defended, and eventually we were destined for this sort of dark squared structure. Not the best approach from him. Queen h4, I think I can just play g3, and after knight takes, I have bishop f2, pinning it to the queen. So he doesn't do that, and natural development and then e5 means I have the bishop pair, and I'm probably going to get a pretty good attack on the dark squares. I'm not totally sure I believe in my sack with g4, but I did it quickly based on the fact that I knew his king was going to be trapped in the center from now until for a while, right? At least long enough to have a Snickers, right? Yeah, there you go. And he couldn't take it because that would just open up more lines. So if he takes it and I take, the same thing is applied here. I figured at the very least I was probably winning my piece back, given how the attack might ensue. I may have been wrong if he had found this move knight to g7, huh? Now if I take and he takes and I take, he can move the king. But it just... right, likeliness of them surviving this, it feels like really I made the right bullet decision, right? That's really, really dangerous. And so, obviously, my opponent did not play knight to g7. And instead played c5, missing the fact that I was threatening mate on e7. At this point, it's already over anyway. Even guarding the mate, I'm going to win my piece back on h5 and be comfortably winning. So, another instructive bullet brawl, another unfortunate loss for my opponent TKList, who was also a lucky member to be in one of our previous instructive bullet brawls, right? The world's most instructive bullet games. Are you ready? One man, the future, desire, bullet chess. Game on. Chess.com.